You can download it too and save a bundle. You don't even need a Capital One card, and it's free. So why didn't I get off the naughty list? Turns out Santa's a stickler for naughty words. Capital One shopping. It's kind of what's in your wallet.
Savings and available coupons vary.
From their own 33, snap to Brady. Saints bring 5. Brady rolls to his right. Now he throws. That's going to be picked off by Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on the far side. Read it perfectly, made the interception, and now we'll go to the Buccaneers end zone to celebrate.
On demand. Our worlds have been brought together thanks to DirecTV Stream.
Why are you whispering?
Because the alien will hear us.
Maybe let the alien know you can get DirecTV Stream with no annual contract.
He seems pretty excited by that, actually.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at directtv.com.
Wires, high-speed internet, incompatible device, content, location, restrictions apply.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Get so strong for your South Pole. Charmin keeps your undies whiter than the North Pole. Shiny, hiney, a brand new year. Come to the Charmin, Happy New Year. May your holidays be Charmin, clean, merry, and bright. May all your undies be Charmin, clean white.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Opioid addiction. It can affect anyone. If you or someone you love are struggling with opioid addiction, your road to recovery starts with one call to Aegis Treatment Centers. Our treatment program has helped people just like you escape from their opioid addiction, and now it's your turn to live a happier and healthier life for you and your loved ones. Call 888-408-2066 or come in today for a free no-obligation consultation. That's 888-408-2066 or log on to AegisTreatmentCenters.com. It's your time to leave addiction behind.
Attorney Michael Carney, 8124 West 3rd Street, Los Angeles, California, is responsible for this ad. Attention victims of LDS Mormon Church sexual abuse. If you were sexually abused as a child by a member of the LDS Mormon clergy, listen closely, as you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Even if it happened decades ago, it does not matter. New laws in California have been put in place to create a way for victims of child sexual abuse to finally get justice and closure. If you suffered abuses from any LDS church clergy member, including those who knew about the abuse but failed to stop it, call our law firm's 100% confidential Mormon Abuse Helpline at 800-589-1598. No matter how long ago the abuse happened, our attorneys may be able to get you justice, closure, and a very meaningful financial settlement. But hurry, there is a time deadline to file a case, so call 800-589-1598.
Made with a smile and made to order just for you.
Starting Stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Where even the food pyramid is shaped like a hot dog. Where every yard gained is a yard worth celebrating, and every celebration is beyond excessive.
With ice cold Dr. Pepper.
Return to glory this season with Fansville by Dr. Pepper. Grab some today.
Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton of Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, for the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to everybody who loves sports, is all fair and level, where even if I have a little bit of a, I guess you could call it an itch in my giddy up, a little bit of a sore throat, but it's all fair and level, where you know it's not COVID, it's just cold. It's cold in Denver Hills. Today is a beautiful December the 20th, 2021. Grondo Deportes, Bonjour de Benefice. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home for the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. You go by and check out yours, just tell them Charlton Big C Sports sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars all around the world. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 20 podcast applications from Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker, Apple Podcast, iHeart-Radio-Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Pod Chaser, and now this is when I gotta catch my breath. Give me some praise for at least getting that far. I think give me some praise for learning to count to 10. All fair and level war. You can also follow Big C Sports on Geo Savon Podcast out of London, England, Podtail Podcast, YouTube Podcast, Hubhopper, Stitcher, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, and also Podcast Wise. They say it's wise to dress warm when it's cold. It's all fair in level war. It's about 48 degrees here in California. That's cold for me. I don't know how people on the East Coast and the Midwest do it. Yeah, it's cold as heck out here in them there hills, all fair and level war. But I want to say you can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming live on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart streaming universes all over the universe. Carrying Big C Sports Podcast streaming. Really do appreciate that. A lot of good things happen in Big C Sports Podcast. Always giving homage to my family legacy from my beautiful grandmother. And on my mother's side, my great-grandfather, my grandmother, as well as my beautiful mother, started a Head Start program in Northern California and also helped us win the Little League Championship of the universe. I love singing that. All span level war on my father's side. My grandfather, Albert Curry, and my grandmother, Alberta Curry, started 2 churches in Oakland, California, and also 2 service stations. Really do appreciate that. My father, retired Air Force fighter pilot and chief mechanic. Really do appreciate him doing everything to keep us safe. My brother Todd, with his bombastic voice, sounds like lightning. I want to thank my son Malcolm, a college graduate, soon to be, and he is all over the NBA, gives me NBA stats, knows everything inside and out. My beautiful daughter Daisy, a college graduate, would help me set up for events when coaches came to the West Coast. Really do appreciate that. And then Big C with his wealth of knowledge. Give them all some praise. Even with a sore throat, I can say give everybody praise. But the show must go on. It's all fair and love and war. Going to be doing an abbreviated show today for the I guess you could say the Christmas weekend. Everybody's getting ready for Christmas. And so I will try to do my best. So let's get ready to rumble. If my voice can hold up. Like, what was that, a cat? No, it wasn't a cat. It was my voice trying to say rumble. Big C Sports, SB dominated sports podcast. No scripts, no 3-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I do the show with my higher self. I produce, I direct the topics, I broadcast the shows. I do all the sound effects from what the agency provides. You can hear some of the sound effects now, if that makes sense to you. They get the laugh track and also they're taking the pictures. Those things make sense. I wish they added a cough drop to the sound effects, but also the commercials outside of what the agency does. I do the stats providing, the storytelling, and then the play-by-play. Steph Curry 4-3. Man, what's wrong with that broadcaster's voice today? You try to do it with a sore throat. It's all fair level where it's just so cold. And then I upload the show. It goes out to 20 podcast applications all over the world. I've never missed a show since September the 12th, 2015. And I'm one of the only sports shows that really honors God. I love Genesis 13:15. It says, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. And the book of James 4:2 said, we have not because we ask not. So if you want something, just ask and give God some praise when you ask him. I say give the Lord some praise when you ask him. I'm wishing for a better throat. But the throat must go on. I also want to say for our veterans, we have a Veterans Crisis Hotline. I really love giving that out. It's there for helping veterans and their loved ones get through crisis. Everybody knows somebody going through something. Pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do that, give our Veterans Crisis Line some praise. I tell them, give our first responders praise. They deserve that too. Imagine they go to work even when they have a sore throat. It's all fair and love and war. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, the Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports all over the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and say, play a Big C Sports podcast. You can hear our applications all over the world. Really do appreciate the way things have grown with Big C Sports. You know, in California, it's been so cold. They've been giving out warming centers. I know that's maybe not new for the people in the Midwest, but anyone you can call, I think you can call 211. They'll tell you where you can get food and get warm because the weather is pretty cold here in California. And I know that's nothing to the people on the East Coast and especially in the Midwest. But I just want to make sure I get that out there so people know there's always help. I also want to say very happy to be affiliated with valleyhomesweekly.com. Also, the nationalrealestatepost.com in your neck of the woods if you want to find out what's going on in real estate. Make sure you tune in there. Also, the mortgagedailynews.com if you want to find out what's going on with interest rates all over this country. Just go to the mortgagedailynews.com. You can also find out more by calling 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. The goal is to recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this country to help them transact in business. Really do appreciate that. So give that some praise. I say give real estate some praise. Even if you got, this is cold in Dimdare Hill. They used to be for the 49ers, they said, it's gold in Dimdare Hill. Now they're saying it's cold in Dimdare Hill. Man, all the sports people. Some people took a bath on the Tampa Bay beatdown by New Orleans. Isn't that something? But Tom Brady's never beaten the New Orleans Saints in the regular season, and since he's joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that was a shocker. Also, the Arizona Cardinals, are they real or are they not? Is it live or Memorex? They got beaten down pretty soundly by the Detroit Lions. I give the Lions credit. They play really hard football. And, of course, they are not going to make the playoffs, but that's a team that plays like they want to be in the playoffs. So for all of you people in Arizona and also Tampa, this game is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, but 100% honest game. Give that some praise. Sports fans, when you're watching the big game, you want to eat it with the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with what's all those exotic meats. You got to need some exotic meats to make my throat feel better. If that's good. All fair level where it tastes better in your mouth than it does in your hand. Got a lot of stuff coming up in NFL football. Going to do an abbreviated show today just for the holidays. And I want to pay attention to the HBCU college football, historical black college football power rankings for the 2021 season. It's already over, but I love paying homage to the HBCUs. So the final HBCU power rankings for the 2021 season, you have, at the same time, everybody has their own opinion about what team is ranked where. But Florida A&M out of the SWAC, they are 9-3 on the season. After much debate, they do get the top spot in the final power rankings of the season. The Rattlers finished the season with a loss to the FCS playoffs after winning 8 straight games to get there. So want to give them congratulations on a fine season. And then Florida A&M played well against the other 2 teams in consideration for the top spot. This is why I give it to them. Jackson State and South Carolina State. The Rattlers lost by just 1 point to Jackson State and blew out South Carolina State by 23 points. They were leading 27-0 through 3 quarters. It was a close call, but Florida A&M takes the first season-ending power rankings of the HBCU. So I want to give Florida A&M some praise. Nothing wrong with giving them praise. All fair in love and war. But going back to the ranking, the Celebration Bowl won by South Carolina State. They finished 7-5 in the MEAC. 2021 South Carolina State Bulldogs made history, bringing the first Celebration Bowl championship trophy back to Orangeburg. The Bulldogs pulled off the upset of the year and beating the SWAC champion Jackson State. Everyone was looking at Jackson State to win that game, but football's any given day, whether it's Saturday or Sunday. But congratulations to South Carolina State for getting that win. Number 3, Jackson State out of the SWAC. They are 12-2 after undefeated, go against all FCS opponents entering the Celebration Bowl. Jackson State lost. It suffered its first loss in 3 months to end the season. And despite the loss, the Tigers, led by Eddie Robinson award-winning coach Deion Sanders, called Prime Time, and also the Jerry Rice Award winner Shedeur Sanders, and their top defensive league. You think about that team. They play good defense all season long in the FCS. Accomplished a lot this season and throw on the groundbreaking work of the recruiting the trail of top athletes that are going to Jackson State because of the work of Deion Sanders and his staff. Really a good job that he's doing down at Jackson State. Number 4 is Alabama A&M out of the SWAC. They finished 7-3 to start the season. Alabama A&M quarterback Agil Glass. He looked like the dominant spring 2021 WAC South, the SWAC championship team. The Bulldogs looked the same to end this season, too. However, a 3-game losing streak in October, it ended any dreams of a repeat championship run for Alabama A&M. Number 5, North Carolina Central out of the MEAC, finished 6-5 as a second-place team. North Carolina Central finished the season on a 3-game winning streak. The Eagles lost by just 3 points to South Carolina State and beat Alcorn State in the season-opening MEAC SWAC Challenge. I love the way those schools get together and play their games. Alcorn State, number 6 out of the SWAC, finished 6-5. Now, they had an up-and-down season, going 1-3 in his last 4 games. However, quarterback Felix Harper and running back Nico Duffy kept the Braves in every game this season. They're a very talented football team, Alcorn State down and the SWAC. Number 7, Prairie View A&M, also out of the SWAC, finished 7-5 on the season. The West champions, Prairie View A&M, lost his final 4 games in the close season, while one defeat came against FBS opponent Texas A&M. Imagine how they played up to an FBS opponent in losing to Texas A&M. The Panthers struggled to find success as the season progressed, but they're a team that's loaded with talented athletes. Number 8, Norfolk State, out of the MEAC at 6-5. 3 straight losses to end the season gave Norfolk State a lackluster finish to a talented season. The Spartans had arguably the top offense in the HBCU football, led by quarterback Juwan Carter in 2021. Number 9, Hampton, out of the Big South. They finished 5-6. They finished 2-1 against FCS HBCU opponents this year, including a blowout victory over North Carolina A&T. While wide receiver Jadarius Bonds was a force against all opponents. That's a very talented football team, even though the record didn't show. And I'm going to finish out with number 10, North Carolina A&T in the Big South. Finished 5-6. North Carolina A&T. They struggled in his first year in the Big South. The Aggies hold wins over North Carolina Central and South Carolina State, and those wins keep North Carolina A&T on the edge of the top 10 to end this season. Now, not everybody's going to be pleased with the rankings, but that's my opinion, and I'm going to stick with it. I want to give them all some praise. On the HBCUs, the top 10 programs to end this season is all fair and level. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout, and maybe get a cough drop or two. And when I come back, we're going to talk more about some NFL football. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, I'm back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 20 podcast applications all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. It's all fair and level. Well, what a great and really great if you're in Las Vegas. The football games over the weekend, no one saw it coming except for people in Las Vegas. They normally don't do too bad getting beaten up in the point spread. And when I look at what happened over the weekend, have some week 15 scores and highlights. The 49ers beat down the Atlanta Falcons, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got shut out by New Orleans Saints. That doesn't make any sense, but I'm going to run down some scores. It went back to Thursday. The Chiefs with a 34-28 overtime win over the there I go again, over the Los Angeles Chargers. I was going to say San Diego Chargers. And then Saturday, the Colts brought the Patriots back down to earth 27-10 in a game that showed that the Patriots are a dominant team, but you can't win them all. The Colts are a team, they're the same. They're one week they're great, the next week they're not, so we'll see what happens with that. Sunday, the biggest upset, I would say, would be the Detroit Lions 30, the Arizona Cardinals 12, and no one expected that, even though the Cardinals were coming off of a loss to the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC West, to travel across the country to Detroit and just really lay an egg. When you think about it, 30-12, a beatdown, and Kyler Murray was 23 of 41, 257 yards, had a touchdown and an interception. And when I look at this team that has so many things to be excited about this season, he had nowhere to run. His passes often missed the mark. Murray's shaky performance helped the Detroit Lions stun the Cardinals 30-12 on Sunday. The Cardinals 10-4. They started the day tied for the NFL's best record, undefeated on the road, and it went away from ending a 6-year postseason drought. And now the Lions step up and beat them. The Lions are 2-11-1. Think about that. Their only wins come over the Vikings and the Cardinals. And they had a tie with the Steelers. They were the bottom of the league standings before the first snap. Somehow looked up as if they were the team that had more at stake. They were hungrier than Arizona, and Arizona was coming off that loss to the Rams. But it's a game that you just wouldn't expect. I mean, think about it. Murray's going to have a lot to improve on. Third-year quarterback, 31. Actually, he was 23 of 41, 257 yards, and a touchdown and an interception. I'm just saying this was a team that I was picking to at least get to the NFC Championship game. But I'm not so sure now. Jared Goff, much maligned throughout his career, was 21 of 26, 216 yards and 3 touchdowns. And it just looked like the Cardinals were overlooking them. I know no one would really say that a team would admit that, but when you go on the road, it's one thing to go on the road, but to get beaten down by a team that had only had one win on the season, and you're expected to win that game and win it running away, I can't say there's a lot of faith in what's going on with the Arizona Cardinals, but it is what it is. Buffalo Bills 31, Carolina Panthers 14, and that's a game where Buffalo was coming off of a 2-game skid, and they had to get a win. They lost a game to New England at home, 14-10, and then they went down to Florida, got beat by Tampa Bay. They were losing big and came back to make it close, but they ended up getting the game they needed. 31-14 over the Carolina Panthers. Buffalo goes to 8-6. Panthers fall to 5-6. It was Josh Allen in Buffalo. Did not have a convincing win against the Carolina Panthers, as the score may indicate, yet they found a way to remain one of the top 3 teams in the AFC. But sometimes they don't play like it. This is hard to figure them out at times. Allen, he was 19 of 34, 210 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had an interception. The victory moves Buffalo within 1 game of the New England Patriots, and they play coming up this weekend. So that's going to be a come-to-Jesus moment for those teams. Cam Newton became the first quarterback in NFL history with 75 career rushing touchdowns after scoring on a 4-yard run in the first half to cut Buffalo's lead to 14-8, but completed just 18 of 39 passes, 156 yards. I was really pulling for Cam Newton to really have a better season than what he's shown so far. Don't know how to figure it out because he's starting, so he must be someone that Matt Rule believes in, and I believed in him too. But you can't have that kind of a performance. Something's going on. I have no idea what it is. Doesn't make any sense. The Giants and the Cowboys, Dallas with a 21-6 win over their NFC East rivals. They go to 10-4 quietly, and the New York Giants, beg your pardon, go to 4-10. It's virtually nothing on the line for the New York Giants. They turnover prone. The Dallas Cowboys going on to lose their southernmost NFC East rivals. Think about that. The Giants can't really beat anybody. They're 4-10 in the number 1 media market in the country. How does New York have 2 such bad teams? It's all fair and love and war, but think about it. Why are they in such a bad team for football, the Jets and the Giants? The Giants are, think about this, 4-10 on the season. In the number 1 media market in the Mara family, used to be a 10-4 type team, but that's going back 20 years ago. But you look at the Cowboys, they're 10-4, and they pushed the Giants down to 4-10. I think the Cowboys have a good running game. They got to figure out how they keep winning. Their offense needs to wake up and stay awake, but they'll have hope for a better go at it next week. But they did reward the defensive effort with a touchdown run from Ezekiel Elliott, who hasn't been that great lately. But a win is a win, especially when you get a win against your own division. So people can talk about the Cowboys not having an explosive team, and maybe they want to jump on Dak Prescott and saying that he's not really the quarterback that can get the Cowboys to the promised land. I beg your pardon. I beg to differ with that. If you can get a win is a win. And Dak Prescott, he's found a way to win. How many teams are 10-4? And he's a quarterback that's always maligned by mainstream media for whatever reason, but he got a win and Tom Brady got shut out. So when Tom Brady gets shut out, they'll say, well, they lost a couple of receivers in the game and didn't have their best. If Dak Prescott wins, they're still saying, well, that's not impressive enough. He has to win bigger. But it's about winning. And they won the game. Arizona Cardinals lost their game. The Cowboys won. So how you keep finding ways, if you're mainstream media, to say that Dak is not doing the job and they're 10-4 in the season. They are 10-4 in the season, and he's the quarterback, and that's worth something in my opinion. I want to jump to the San Francisco 49ers with a 31-13 beatdown of the Atlanta Falcons. I tell you, this 49er team, they're a good team. They are right. I would say they're peaking right now. It's the 5th win in 6 games for the 49ers. This is a team that's just peaking at the right time. Down in Santa Clara, they had a couple of rough weeks in the first couple of home games, but they've turned things around. Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 235 yards and a touchdown. San Francisco ran for 3 more scores, and they won for the 5th time in 6 games, beating Atlanta 31-13. And that's a team that you got to be careful of going into the playoffs. They are 8-6. They scored touchdowns on 4 straight drives to make it easy work of the Falcons. 6-8. They even had a goal line stand after they fumbled the kick return to open the game, and they had a 4-down stop against Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons. But I tell you about this football team for the 49ers. There's a player by the name of Brandon Ayuk, and then fullback Kyle Juszczyk. These players can play football. Bosa, he has 15 sacks. He's going to get probably a couple of games left. I'm going to say Bosa's going to get the 19 sacks in the season. He has 1 more sack to tie one of the best 49ers sack rushers over the history of the last several seasons. When you think about this team, I like San Francisco. If you feel that they're not consistent, I think Jimmy G is showing that maybe he's a quarterback for the future. No need to think about trading him. Who knows what's going to happen? But I like the way this team plays. Ryan threw for 236 yards at a 20-yard touchdown run, pass to Russell Cage. But Ryan was outmatched by the 49ers defense. Listen about this. Bosa is 4.5 sacks shy of Smith's franchise record. 19.5 sacks on the season. I think he's going to get it. Aldon Smith did it. Think about that. 19.5 sacks. Aldon Smith. I think Bosa's going to get this record. They are so strong on defense. And if that team can carry that defense into the playoffs, they're going to be a lot to deal with. Not everybody has their own thoughts about how the Niners are going to do it. They can win on the road. We've seen that. So I'm looking forward to the Niners making some noise in the NFC playoffs. And I'm not going to say they're going to win the NFC West. They'll probably come in second place with that. But the 49ers, they look good. They finished the season. They're going to go to Tennessee this week in an early game Thursday. And then they're going to play the Rams and also the Texans in the season. The Texans 30, the Jacksonville Jaguars 16. And what a game that was for the Texans. They have nothing to look forward to, but they did get the win. And Tremon Smith is planning to do something nice for his blockers. He doesn't know what. He doesn't know when. He just knows that he needs to a 10 of whatever he decides to buy, probably some Rolex watches. And with a 30-16 beatdown over the Jacksonville Jaguars over the weekend. It's a game that, hey, you would expect them to beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville had just gotten rid of Urban Meyer. A lot of turmoil going on in that organization. Miami Dolphins 31-24 over the New York Jets. And look at the Dolphins. Their winning streak is now at 6. And there were people saying we got to get rid of Brian Flores. But 31-24 win over the New York Jets. Duke Johnson grew up in the shadows of Hard Rock Stadium. And when you think how the Dolphins are won 6 in a row, rushed for 107 yards, had a career-best 2 touchdowns. Devontae Parker caught an 11-yard touchdown pass from Tua Tagovailoa in the game. And the Dolphins were on their way. This is the team that, it's the Jets. But when you go 6 wins in a row, the Dolphins are now 7-7 on the season. This is a team that talked about getting rid of their coach. He made the playoffs last year. And may just make the playoffs again this year. Really proud of what the Dolphins were able to do under Coach Flores. That's an impressive win to go 6 in a row in the NFL. Is very hard to do, and everybody knows that. You look at the Pittsburgh Steelers with Big Ben Roethlisberger rushing in for a touchdown. Maybe he just fell across the goal line, but 19-13 over the Tennessee Titans. The Steelers go to 7-6-1, and the Titans fall to 9-5. And I'm telling you, this is a team, they just won't quit. The Steelers, they keep climbing that mountain despite another slow start. The Steelers rally to defeat the Tennessee Titans, staying alive in the AFC playoff race. 19-13 win put the Steelers back over 500 at 7-6-1. The Titans fell to 9-5, and the 49ers are coming to town. They may just go to 9-6 now, coming up this week. But the Steelers were down 13-3 at halftime, and they ended up scoring 16 unanswered points behind 3 forced turnovers by their defense. I think they've taken on their head coach's mentality, and obviously they still have some hope because nobody wants to win their division, especially with the Cleveland's going to play the Raiders this evening, and then you had the Baltimore Ravens. They decided to go for 2 again and let another one get away. But I'm really proud of what they've been able to do. The Steelers with an aging quarterback that everybody says is old and washed up, but they keep winning. Cincinnati Bengals 15-10 over the Denver Broncos. Teddy Bridgewater was injured in the Bengals 15-10 victory over the Broncos. Had a concussion, but I think he's going to be okay. And Cincinnati sees the first place tie with the Baltimore Ravens atop the AFC North. A 15-10 win over Denver on Sunday. Another football was waiting for Kareem in the visitors' locker room as a 4-quarter inch. Think about this. The Broncos are 7-7. They were threatening to retake the lead, but there's something about that Cincinnati team. They're a young team. They're up and down. They got to get the ball to Chase more. He had 1 reception for 4 yards. That's not good. He's a star waiting to be born. They just got to find a way to treat him like Jerry Rice was treated by the 49ers back in the day. Give him the ball as many times as you can. Brandon McManus had the kickoff from his own 20, and then Trent Taylor returned it to the Bengals' 32-yard line. 2 plays later, 45 seconds after that, Tyler Boyd raced into the end zone for a 56-yard touchdown from Joe Burrow. This is a team that they're scary, but they're inconsistent. Don't really know how to pick them, but they're a team that's going to challenge Baltimore and even Pittsburgh for a playoff spot coming out of their division. You can breathe. Just relax. Baltimore falls to 8-6. Green Bay goes to 11-3 with a 31-30 win, and the Ravens went for 2. Probably could have just kicked the field goal to tie it up and try to go into overtime. So Green Bay escapes with a narrow win. Tyler Huntley's showing that he can play football. You think about this football team in Green Bay, I think they kind of let up off the gas a little bit, but it came right down to the wire. Quarterback Tyler Huntley, he filling in for the injured Lamar Jackson, was able to drive his team 49 yards down the field in the fourth quarter and score a touchdown with less than a minute to play in the contest. And then they go for 2. I don't know why. They went for 2. He finished 268 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, completing 23 of his 31 passes. I tell you, Aaron Rodgers is a cool cat. And he tied Hall of Famer Brett Favre for the Packers' all-time passing touchdown record. He'll break it in the next game. And with 268 yards in this game against a very solid defense, you got to give him credit for always finding a way to get the Packers where they need to be, which is always playoff ready. And this is the team that definitely will be in the playoffs, and maybe, just maybe, since Arizona doesn't want it, looking at the Green Bay Packers having home field advantage for the second year in a row. It didn't help them last year, but I'm sure it's going to help them this year if they get there. And I'm sure they will get there. The shock of the day, outside of the Lions beating the Cardinals, is New Orleans 9, Tampa Bay nothing, to shut them out. Think about that. A shutout win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the defending Super Bowl champions. Nobody hounds Tom Brady like the New Orleans Saints. Cameron Jordan and the New Orleans defense, they gave Brady fits again, shutting out Tampa Bay in their high-powered offense on Sunday night. The Saints put the Buccaneers' division title celebration plans on hold. It was a 9-0 victory over the reigning Super Bowl champions, and they did it with being more physical. Despite playing without head coach Sean Payton on the sideline, the Saints are 7-7 now. The Buccaneers fall to 10-4 for the 7th straight time during the regular season, and 4th since Brady left New England for Tampa in 2020. You know Tampa's going to get back into the playoffs and most likely win that division easily. But I just think about how COVID has knocked a lot of people out. Head coach Sean Payton wasn't there, but still, again, the team rallied. Brady leads the NFL in completions with 404 attempts. 404 completions out of 602 attempts and 4,348 passing yards and 36 touchdowns. He was just 26 of 48, 213 yards and 1 interception. The 8th he's thrown in 4 regular season games against the Saints. Isn't that something? Taysom Hill was 13 of 27, 157 yards, no interceptions for New Orleans, but also got field goals of 39, 35, and 42 yards for Bet Mara. So you got to give the Saints some credit for doing what they had to do, and that is win a game. Not that they're going anywhere, but they won the game, and that's all that matters, especially when you win against the defending Super Bowl champions. It's all fair and level. Well, we have the Raiders at the Cleveland Browns tonight. A 5 p.m. tip-off already underway. The Vikings are going to be taking on the Bears in Chicago, 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. Both of these games are East Coast time. And then Tuesday we'll have the Seahawks at the Rams and Washington at the Eagles because of the COVID protocol. The Raiders got to find a way to just stop the bleeding. I don't think they will. I think the Cleveland Browns have a chance to get some home cooking, get an extra day of rest, being at home, sleeping in their own beds, and that most likely will be the advantage for them, in my opinion. I don't see the Raiders having a lot left in the gas tank, and it just seems like they're ready for the season to be over with. And Cleveland's getting 3 in that game. The over-under is 40.5. The Chicago Bears, the Minnesota Vikings are favored by 6.5, and the over-under in that game is 45.5. Who knows what's going to happen in those games? It's just a weird week in NFL football. I hope that everybody just recovers from all the COVID issues, and people have been placed on the hold and placed on the sidelines, but hopefully they'll have a lot of praise. Give the NFL some praise for at least kicking off and pushing some games back to make sure we can still play and get some NFL games in. I'm going to close out today's abbreviated show, just running down the NBA schedule. And my throat feels a lot better than it did when I started the show in the cold in the frozen tundra of California. That's something. Oh my goodness. Monday, December 20, NBA schedule. Philadelphia at the Boston Celtics. Game's already underway, tipped off at 4:30 p.m. Houston is at Chicago. That game already tipped off at 5 o'clock p.m. OKC. I got to keep this. I guess I got to go grammatically correct. OKC Thunder. Got to put the OKC Thunder, the Lightning Bolt, at Memphis. Game already underway. Charlotte at Utah up on the Wasatch Mountains, 6 o'clock p.m. already tipped off. Sacramento Kings at the Golden State Warriors, the best record in the NBA, 7 p.m. tip-off. That'll tip off shortly. And then the San Antonio Spurs at the LA Clippers, and that tips off later here on the West Coast at 7:30 p.m. So that's it from a sore throat, and I got through it, so give me some praise for that. Not sore throat because of cold. It's just cold. It's just cold in dim there hills in California. Those hills and valleys, the cold and dim there hills and valleys. I got to get some iced tea or some hot tea or whatever it is. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. And he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm pretty, I can't possibly be beat with all these big C burgers that make me light on my feet. That makes sense, yeah. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. And as we always tell you on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.